This is a very, very sticky point and a very great danger to the West at this point.
You know, Brigitte, that is such an excellent point, because they do have the bomb, and we look at these crazy pictures over there. A government that's supposed to take care of a former government official, they can't do that. Why should we trust them to keep a watchful eye on the bombs?
Exactly, and this is now the situation in Pakistan is much more dangerous than the situation with Iran. Iran, the crazies there, they are developing a nuclear bomb, but they do not have it yet. The Pakistanis do have the bomb, and all the radical Islamists need is to overthrow the government, and they will get their hands on the bomb.
And Brigitte, just to update our audience that may just be tuning in, BENAZIR Bhutto was at a political rally earlier today. There was, we had heard, tight security, but somehow a suicide bomber was able to get close to the rally and explode. Probably 35 to 40 people were injured in that blast. 20 to 25 people killed, including former Prime Minister BENAZIR Bhutto, who we've learned was shot in the neck by, it sounds like, an assassin. So in addition to the suicide bomber being there, also an assassin. One of our reporters said that maybe the suicide bomber was a decoy, actually, so that she had to leave the gated area.
Sure.
And now, Brigitte, I'm wondering, what do you think what does this mean to the country? What do you think will happen there in the days before this January 8th election?
I think we're going to see a lot of bloodshed, a lot of riots coming up in the next few days. Emotions are running high. BENAZIR Bhutto was very loved by her people and her supporters and followers. They are very upset right now. And when you kill a leader that is very much loved by their supporters, you're going to see people going to the streets and reacting in a very irrational, emotional way. And we're going to see clashes. I do believe that Musharraf is going to declare a state of emergency to control the country until they are able to establish at least a powerful presence to ensure that the Islamists are not going to get their hands on the nukes or topple the government or do something crazy.
Brigitte, we thank you very much for your perspective. Hang on for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
BENAZIR Bhutto has been a guest on this program on several occasions, and in fact, I had the great pleasure to chat with her for about an hour in our green room after the program. She was a lovely woman. Somebody else who's interviewed her a number of times is our own Greta Van Susteren. Greta, the news this morning is that at 6:16 Pakistan time, BENAZIR Bhutto was assassinated. She was taken by... Greta, are you there right now?
I am, Steve, and I heard you talk about talking to her in the green room, because I think that's probably the more interesting conversations we all had with her. You know, we all interviewed her on the air. She was on our show, and I've also done a few audio interviews with her besides on camera. But what was the interesting part was when I pulled her aside after an interview a few months ago, and I said, why are you going back? I mean, you're going to get assassinated. I mean, why are you doing this? And she was simply on a mission for democracy, and it was a little bit hard for me to understand that, because she knew she was at risk.
Greta, she knew she was at risk, but she also felt as though she was better suited to deal with the terrorists and understood the tribal regions much better than Musharraf did.
Well, yes, and she was simply on a mission, And it was stunning to me. Here's a woman who had been at that point in exile for about 8 years. She had certainly spent a lot of time in the United States. She was even educated at Radcliffe, Harvard. So I was surprised that she wanted to go back, knowing that it was a real risk. And then when she got back, remember there were demonstrations outside the home where she was staying. Right. People were threatening to kill her, and she probably could have gotten out a number of times, but she just was determined. And when I spoke to her, she was just, she would not stop talking about democracy, how she wanted to help her people. This is what she wanted. And and I thought, well, okay, that's certainly a lofty ideal, and it's certainly important, but you're going to get yourself killed, and everybody knows it. Well, today it did happen.
And remember when she went back, she was under virtual house arrest for many weeks, and she was unable to leave her house because of all of the turmoil. But it sounds like she was the type of woman who really wanted to be in the mix. She wanted to be at the rally. She wanted to be out with people, despite the incredibly grave danger that she knew.
Yeah, it's hard to determine what's being fearless and bold and what's being reckless. She insisted she was being fearless.
We'll continue to track that with you. Thanks for joining us once again, Moshe. I want to bring back Zain Verjee, someone who has not only followed the story from the State Department, but also been there to Pakistan in recent weeks and actually spoke just not too long ago with Benazir Bhutto herself about where this leaves the political situation, Zain. They were looking to hold the parliamentary elections on January 8th, not far from where we are right now. At the same time, there was talk that there was an attempt at a power-sharing agreement between Pervez Musharraf and Benazir Bhutto, and we seem to see that break away a little bit. So where does it stand as for the future of Pakistan?
Well, the election now is one big question mark. It's really a situation that could be entirely meaningless without Benazir Bhutto being there, because she is such a major player, was in the political process. There's a serious leadership vacuum, and she is someone that did command a huge amount of popular support in the country. She had her critics, but her name, Bhutto, carried a huge amount of weight in the country, and people really saw her as a leader that really fought for the people. Her presence in the country was something that the United States really wanted to see happen. The U.S. helped pave the way for Benazir Bhutto, who was in exile, self-imposed in Dubai for about 7 years, helped her come home so that she could be part of the political fabric and at least bring Pakistan on the road back to democracy. So the more likely scenario is that the elections are a big question mark. If they push ahead, they would be meaningless. And
of the great dangers that imposed on her.
Akbar Ahmed, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
And we're joined now by Mike Gapes, MP. He's the chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee at Westminster. Mr. Gapes, thanks for talking to us. Did you know Benazir Bhutto?
I didn't personally know her, but I knew many of her supporters who were in London, and met many of the activists around her. And I have to say, this is a terrible shock and a great crime against democracy, and a party that was committed to secular Pakistan in terms of its political practice, although it would remain an Islamic country. This is a terrible blow to the future of Pakistan and to all Pakistanis, including those who live in the UK, people of Pakistani origin and their families.
In the first instance, what do you think is going to happen with the elections due to take place in just a matter of days' time? I
don't think I can possibly speculate on that. Clearly, there needs to be a period of national mourning. They need time to come to terms with this enormous event, because, frankly, clearly it's designed to stop the democratic process by those people who know that their own ideology is marginalised in Pakistani society. But at the same time, clearly there has to be a proper period of respect and mourning for Benazir, who is a major political figure in her society and also internationally.
There is, of course, now the tough question, which we were discussing with our previous guest, about whether another state of emergency might be imposed in Pakistan. Do you think that would be useful? Would it actually have the opposite effect? Would it embolden the people who are behind these attacks? Because the rate of these suicide bombings did not go down during the last state of emergency, which President Musharraf lifted just a short time ago.
I think it's really very, very much too early for anybody to make calculations of that kind. It may be that they decide, in order to have public order at this time, because there will be a lot of people who are very angry, that they need to have some kind of a temporary state of emergency. At the same time, they may decide to postpone the election.